what we call polygamy, right? Um, so let's go because they're wives. There are two of them. And Ada bare Jabal, and he was the father of such as dwell in tents and of such as have cattle. So now we start seeing a profession. We start seeing like a industry. So we see like Jabal, who was born to one of the wives, as father of such as dwell in tents. So they're tent dwellers and they're like ranchers. Okay. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ. So Jubilee, like, right? Is that where we get that word? Like when you're, Jubilee music. Um, so he's a musician. Interesting. We hear about a harp. We hear about an organ. What? Now is this a translation, into a modern setting of church when and organs are out and harps? But who's to say what this is meant? What kind of organ is this? These are questions. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. Um, so it looks like Zillah also had um, a smith, an ironsmith, a metallurgy type person who's explores brass and iron. Wow. And then the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. Who's she? I don't know why they mention her, but maybe she comes up. Let's see. And Lamech said in it, his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech. It's like talking to himself in the third, talking to them and referring to his own name, like in the third person. Hear me, my wives of Lamech, which is me. Hearken unto my speech. For I have slain a man, oh, woe, to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. So, a slain a man to his wounding. What does that mean? Like the guy wounded him? And a young man to my hurt, again, is something that hurt him in the process by him killing him. Was it self defense or was it just straight up part of the skirmish? And if Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, true to Lamech, 70 and sevenfold. So here we see a bigger number. What could this mean? Why is this even more? I think this is what Jordan was referring to when he was talking about how it multiplies. Because that's why, when it's first starting out, you don't want to like multiply it because it just gets worse. Like it starts to like sevenfold and turns into 7 times 70, which could mean, we already know that one of the sons here is dealing with brass and iron. That could lead into weaponry. That could lead into war. It says here, and Adam knew his wife again. So this is like I said, we can only assume there's other kids being born to Adam and Eve, but the only ones mentioned here is at first Cain and Abel, and then it would seem like in that order it was just Cain and Abel, and then now this other son who's supposed to, I guess, replace Abel because Abel was lost. So who knows what the particular order is or how many children are being had here, but these are the ones we're told. And Adam knew his wife again, and the son, they called his name Seth. So I did hear of Seth. So Seth is supposed to be, for God said, she hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel. Oh, this is Eve speaking. For God, said she, hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. So looks like they needed this line to carry down. Like someone needs to carry the torch from Adam. It was going to be Abel, but looks like the serpent struck. He struck at. It should have been Cain because Cain is the firstborn, so he would have the birthright originally. So it looks like he lost his birthright, which then it would go to Abel, but Abel was killed. So it's like, talk about a worthy strike from an adversary, with the serpent's temptations, like him filling Cain's mind with stuff. Like, looks like he's allowed to go around tempting people and just seeing what they would do. And like, for him to like maneuver this situation, he's a manipulator, he's a liar, or whatever he's doing to get Cain to follow him. Cain, that would be that's a significant strike at God's plan if you think about it, because it's like, oh, he just took out both. He took out the birthright right there because he disqualifies himself, and then the birthright actually kills the next guy that would have qualified. Done, done and done. And you know how the devil's anger and hatred is. He's probably hoping that Adam and Eve would just get upset and try and like take out, that they would be mad and be like, "That's it, Cain. You're going down. You killed my son, my favorite son." And then they go into a skirmish, and Cain's like, "Oh yeah, we see that in the movies where the child kills the parents, and then he feels bad and offs himself maybe, and then there it is. Nobody's left on the earth. It's game over, and the serpent's laughing, going, "Yeah, I knew this whole thing was a sham. I knew this thing would never work. This is ridiculous." Giving people freedom to think this is what happens. This is what they do. This is what they always do. You need to control people. You need to be a controller. You need to like, God has all this power, and he doesn't want to have dominion over people. He wants to give out all these nice little laws and rules and see if people will obey. They're not going to obey, man. And here's my proof. I just showed you. Cain, look what he did. You could hear these kind of like, that's the devil right there, man. That's how the devil operates, dude. He's just straight up uses anything and everything to make you feel like giving up. It's a war. That's what war is, man. You're going to have an opposite side. That opposite side, that other team, they're not going to play fair, man. That's the name of the game. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son. Oh, so the line continues. And he called his name Enos. So this was third generation, down to Enos. Or first to second generation. So he would be the first, then second. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. So that wraps up chapter 4. That wasn't too bad. I actually enjoyed reading that, getting my thoughts out on what I've experienced as a child, all the way to something I heard as an adult on a YouTube thing that I happened to catch because my brother introduced me to Jordan Peterson. That was the first time I heard that. I was listening to that. I listened to quite a bit from him. In fact, back then, I was just checking it out, just going, hey, not that everything was landing for me, like, because there's some stuff that he's talking about that's above my intellectual capacity to understand the words that he's using. They're like, I had to go pull a dictionary kind of thing, but I could capture a lot of the essence of what he was putting down, which in my mind is pretty amazing. A lot of stuff that he talks about. I'd say give him a chance. I know some people want to cancel him right off the bat because he seems to like speak largely for a conservative audience. And what's funny is he actually considers himself more liberal. So interesting for us, those of us who don't know these type of things on the political agenda or stuff like that. I'm still trying to get used to it myself, and I definitely got into it this past year with everything that was going on. What are you? What does it mean to be liberal? What does it mean to be this? And who are you really? And where are you really at? And what party is this? And there could be a lot of confusion with all that stuff. But I think it's just the management and the checking out the ideas as well. I like to explore the different ideas. I'm not just going to dismiss an idea just because some people say you need to dismiss it and not even think about it. I mean, that's the one thing that's going to make you want to go see what it's all about, because it's like curiosity. It's like, what do you mean I can't look behind the door? Why not? Well, you just can't. But you can? Yeah. No. I don't think so. Unless it's your private thing. I'm not saying to get into people's privacy. I'm talking about something that should be accessible to all of us. And some people want to cut it off to other people. Nah, I don't play that. Homie, don't play that, guys. But I didn't mean to get into that. But this was a good read. I actually enjoyed this chapter. There's a lot in here. Definitely a lot more than I brought up. You go back and pick these apart, and there's layers of stuff in here. But I'm happy with this reading. I'm just happy that we've made it to the 4th day, and just got to keep moving forward, and I'm sure there's going to be some more challenging ones coming up. I remember those. Ed and so beget so and so, and all these names that will I ever remember? Luma Mayathel and Libelibethel and Luithel and Jebiagel, and just keeps going and going and going. The names all do have a certain pattern about them. They're not like you go to like the name books to these days, and you see a bunch of other names. I mean, all these names that are out now. The Bible has its own kind of pattern of names. If you notice, they're all and then who knows? Like this is an English translation, so how do are those names going to be different? In Hebrew, obviously they will. Unless they sound similar like Abel, or instead of Abel, like we'd say Abel, or Cain, they'd say Kaane or something Cain, or who knows how it would be pronounced, and what when we're going from. I think it would went from Hebrew to the Greek to here. I'm not sure. There's something called the Septuagint. So there's some stuff coming back to my mind that I'm kind of remembering. So, like I said, don't pretend to be a scholar. Just wanted to get through it, not make it too heavy, make it simple, and just read. And so, anybody happens to catch this, wants to throw some comments down and engage in some kind of discussion, be cool. But that's what I have so far, guys. So that's it for now. Signing off.